I think the hardest part actually is writing the script. Writing the script's everything. And then after that, it's really about the actors and handing it over to them. And if you have great actors, you know, they can pull it off. When we did Dumb and Dumber, which was our first movie, we wanted Jeff Daniels in it badly, and the studio said, no, Jeff Daniels, he's not right because he's not a comedic actor. And we found that odd. We said, what are you talking about? He's a great actor. Great actors can do anything. You know, when we had, we trust our actors, and we keep a loose set when we're shooting a movie. We try to keep things very loose so they're not afraid to take a chance. We want them to feel comfortable about going out on a limb and perhaps embarrassing themselves. If they do embarrass themselves, we want them to feel like, oh, that's all right, because in fact, you know, many things that actors try do not work. You know, and the great actors fail more than the not great actors because they try more. You know, it all begins with the writing, and we do it together in a room. Should I take pauses?
No, that's all right. You can go a bit further.
Okay, and we do it together. I mean, as opposed to sometimes we edit apart. You know, sometimes Bobby will edit the movie for a month and then hand it over to me, and I'll edit it for a month. So we do some chores differently. And in fact, even directing, we direct, but we never talk to the actors together. We'll watch what's going on. I stand by the actors, and Bobby stands at the monitor. And after each take, we'll get together, discuss what we think we saw, and then one of us will approach the actors. We don't approach them together because it can confuse them. But anyway, in the writing process, what we do is we never remember who wrote what. We really don't. We kind of push each other, and nobody ever really wrote one thing. It seems like the example I always give is the hair gel in Something About Mary. That was the thing where we just pushed each other, and I actually remember that conversation. We were in a car, we were driving along, and I said, hey, I've been wondering about something. Is there something here? Like, what if a guy was masturbating and lost the product of masturbation? You know, he couldn't find it. Maybe he got caught up in it, like, and then it was missing. And Bobby said, yeah, there is something there, but the question is, where was it? Where'd it go? I said, I don't know. He said, well, think about it. What if it ended up someplace that it might come in later, like on his ear? And I thought, oh, that's funny, you know, and you know, that's good that, you know, it's at that point. And then we thought, we were kind of giggling with each other, and then I thought, well, wait a second, if it's on his ear and somebody saw it, that would be very funny. What would they think it is? And we thought there for a second. We said, well, you could say it was hair gel. Yeah, you'd have to say it was hair gel. And then we had a laugh about that, and we were driving along another 10 minutes later. Suddenly he said, well, wait a second. If they thought it was hair gel, then maybe somebody would actually put it in their hair. And we howled about that now. We're just giggling and driving along. And then a few minutes later, it occurred to us, well, if you did put it in the hair, wouldn't it eventually dry and get kind of crispy? And voila.
The creative part.
Yeah, we're unaware of what, Kevin Smith, whatever he did in his movie. I'm not familiar with the donkey scene in that. We did the donkey scene, you know, just for laughs, of course, and hopefully it's not the big new wave in movies. As far as why we did a remake, is because we thought that the original movie was one of the best movies that we could remember. It was a classic, but we thought that there's a way to do it differently for today, you know, differently for today's audience, and that was, you know, in the original Heartbreak Kid, the Eddie character leaves a wife that's sort of, you know, kind of average looking for a girl who's very, very pretty. And so in a way he traded up. And we thought that that's kind of, there's something about that doesn't feel right, you know? And so we thought if we're going to come back and redo it, let's have him marry a girl who's spectacularly beautiful, like Malin. And what happens along the way is that he finds out after marrying her that maybe she's not the right one for him. You know, maybe they just have different sensibilities. And while he's on his honeymoon, he meets a girl who's a much better match. It's the girl he's been waiting for his whole life, Michelle. And we thought, you know, it's an interesting way to tell the old story, you know, about the guy who goes on his honeymoon and falls in love with another woman. So we thought it was original enough that we didn't mind doing a remake.
Ben's father is based on our father. I don't mean our father who art in heaven. I mean Bob and my father. Our father is a doctor, but he's got a filthy mouth, and he's very vulgar in a lot of ways. And so, though we love him dearly, he's extremely politically incorrect most of the time. So we did base it on our father.
We were inspired a lot by the Zucker brothers when we first came into the business, because they were brothers, and there was the comedies they were doing were just, we'd go to the theater and just laugh our head off, and we thought, God, those guys are so good. And when we met them, they ended up being like some of the nicest guys we've ever met. So we thought, those guys have it made, and so in a way, they were our, they were what we wanted to become, and hopefully we can keep them in mind, as we go along.
We also take as much as possible from Kevin Smith.
Especially donkey scenes. Yes, we understand. Okay.
But we're inspired by anyone who we think is funny. The guy Judd Apatow now who's doing these funny movies. He inspires me because he's original, and they go for it, and and when I go to the movies, watch his movies, I laugh, and that's what we want people to do in our movies. Being that they're on their honeymoon, we thought, how about an adult sex comedy? To bring some of that into it. Being that we went back to an R-rated movie after a number of movies not being R-rated in the United States, it was very liberating for us, and it enabled us to go places that we hadn't been before. And I think it's what Peter and I do best is work in this R-rated territory. So it was very fun for us, and having Marlon come through on so many notes for us, and really bringing, particularly her character to life here, really opened up the door to some good humor.
Yeah, I can't believe what they made me do.
We do feel like we get way more credit than we deserve. I don't feel underappreciated.
The only time it's a little frustrating is when an actor or an actress is not recognized for the work they do in a comedic role. And I think some of the guys we've seen over the last few years, between Bill Murray and Jim Carrey, and the performance that Marlon and Michelle give here, it's not the type of thing that is ever will be probably considered for an award, at the end of the year. But that's too bad, because these performances are as good as any I think you'll see all year. I really do.
That is true. I have been frustrated a couple times when great performances were not recognized. And I think of Bill Murray in Kingpin, how he took a small role, and to me that is the definition of a best supporting actor. That role was really, he made that role happen, and he changed the entire movie. He made that movie so much better by his performance. And I remember that year, there was no better supporting performance than Bill Murray in Kingpin. And I remember being a little frustrated that it was never even mentioned, But anyway, I'm sorry, let's move on. Oh, you want to say that? But, the one thing that we did when we started out is, two things mainly. We weren't afraid to push it. We're not afraid to go there. We're not bashful. We will try jokes that seem maybe, crossing the line, but we felt that the line wasn't real. It was held back by politics or political correctness. So we weren't afraid to go for it. And the other thing was, we felt that a lot of comedies forgot to throw in the heart. A lot of comedies, like the Zucker brothers, who we loved, and we grew up on, we realized that as good as they were, and as much as they made you laugh, halfway through the movie you realized you really didn't care what happened. You were just there for the laughs. And we thought, if you could add an element of heart to the comedy and make you really care about the characters, then it would make the film watching experience way more satisfying. And that's why, if you notice, our movies are all about 20 minutes longer than the average American comedy, because we do take 20 minutes for the hard part, and that we really do.